Okay, great. And thanks for passing across to me, Kieran. Obviously, I am super excited to be here to talk to you about digital recruitment and the new age of recruitment that most people have seen post-COVID, but realistically isn't that new. Want to keep things quite fresh and quite quickly moving. So obviously got a small slideshow, but feel comfortable to jump in whenever you want. The big thing to start with is actually we talk about kind of this COVID movement, but realistically, this isn't a new phenomenon. Digital recruitment has been around probably for the last 15 or 20 years, and we've really seen an emergence of businesses moving towards a digital space when they talk about recruitment. And the reason why is because the future of the workforce is actually lying in this digital world more than ever before. We all know that concentration span's gone down, time in front of the screen's gone up, but it also means the consumer behavior is a lot different. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about digital recruitment. It's not just trying to get, the process online. It's about how do we recruit in this digital age. I thought this was mind-blowing, like absolutely mind-blowing. And the reason why is not actually because of working out the cultural fit, but it's the fact that it's done before people send applications. And obviously, as the stat suggests, 80% of millennials will look at a good cultural fit before they hit apply. So if we just put that into context and put it into the real world, these are the people that are going to be applying to your job. That's the future of your workforce. They don't even send their CV until they've done some kind of analysis or spying on your business to really work out, is this the type of culture I want to work within? Crazy, right? Not even coming into the office, not getting into interviews, nothing. Before they hit apply, they will do that research. And this is what we need to think about when we're talking of digital recruitment. And again, I'm very interested in the actual amount of people this is, and the statistics show it's 80% of nearly 14 million, and that is not looking at people that were born after 1998. So let's think about it now. We have millions of job seekers that will not send their CV off before they have audited you as a business. Crazy. So let's talk about the advantages and the disadvantages then, because actually incredibly important. We need to know one thing, and one thing for sure, that this is a policy that you need to commit to. Now, do not use this policy to overtake or completely kind of rid your old policy. It's always worth mentioning it's better to have a couple of strands to your strategy, because actually there are disadvantages, and I'm going to start on that side first. And I think the first thing to really stress at this point is the physical contact is lost. Now, there's a screen between us today, and I cannot physically see you, but also what do we lose? Well, we lose all those really nice parts of communication, like body language, like understanding, reading between the lines, actually bonding and rapport. How many interviews you've been on where you found out you really like a person, and actually you were in the lift before the interview and you realize this kind of culture I want to work for, and all of these different things. On top of that, it is time consuming and it does take time to set up. This is not just a video interview room. This is not just a Zoom link, and people need to commit properly or keep to the traditional methods. Obviously, it's change. People do not like change fundamentally, and change management can be costly, and realistically, it can have lots of pushback. A lot of people might not want this in the organization, but for me, the advantages really outweigh the disadvantages. And I am literally one of the people that eat, sleep, breathe recruitment. So I might sound a little bit too excited about this, but realistically now you are a global company. Wherever you sit in the world today, you are a global business. And that is incredible for your reach. It means that you can have, let's say I'm based in London, I've got workers in Scotland, and that is the case. I can have a global reach when it comes to candidacy, which is unbelievable, because if we think about the skill set required, we now have opened up the geography, so we've got more chances of getting the right skill set in our business. Obviously, if you get it right, it is more efficient. We'll talk about recruitment, process automation at a different time, but if you can get this right, you can let the robots do a little bit of work for you. You can get your top performers and be a lot more efficient that way as well. And essentially it's about money, right? If you're spending less, maybe it's travel, it's a really easy one to look at. But if we're spending less on process and we are getting more result at the end of it, we're able to see our ROI increase. And my personal favorite is it removes away this hunch-based decision making. And when I say hunch-based decision making, I'm talking very much about the people that go, my gut feels right about the person, so let's go for them. Because gut feeling is really hard to get over a Zoom call. It's really hard to interpret what your gut is saying when things become very two-dimensional. So how then? Let's think of how. And realistically, we should be well aware of the recruitment funnel. And the fact that the recruitment funnel is split into two core components, one, which is attraction, it's seen here as recruitment marketing, and the other, which is acquisition, which is seen as recruiting. Obviously, that digital strategy will allow you to bring in the right people, but it needs to go through every single stage. I've got a few quick tips and hints, but if we look at the recruitment marketing, we need to think about content creation. We need to talk about our message that we're sending out to people. We need to talk about why people will join us, and we need to be able to put this in a content manner. Social. I cannot tell you how important it is to have a social recruitment strategy. So recruiting socially is the future. More consumers or more job seekers will consume more time on things like TikTok and Instagram than they will on newspapers. So therefore, we need to be in the right place to get the right attention. If we're in the wrong place, it doesn't matter how good we are at doing it, we're not going to get that attention. Obviously, attraction over acquisition, and what is meant by this? Well, there is a brilliant statistic that suggests that 96% of decision making is done before you purchase what you want to purchase. And that's a sales quote. I am sales all over. I recruit sales professionals all day long, so I know that world very well. But decision making is made before the purchase is made. Now, if you have a good attraction module, if your candidates are really excited about coming in and seeing you, you've got more chances of securing those people. There is no surprises why companies like Google get all of the top talent, because they make it feel like a place that you need to be. Next one is automation. Use your automation in a wise manner to create efficiency, but also now we're starting to talk about that assessment and the recruitment side of things. You can get a lot more scripting whilst you are talking online. You can actually automate the scripting as well in one-way video interviews. Create scorecards so that you're able to assess more effectively, but also compare and contrast. There is such a thing as Zoom fatigue. We all know that. So it is really nice to be able to compare and contrast people digitally and get scientific help. And for me, that is in the shape of psychometric tests, which will really take a look at what's under the hood of a car. Now, I know full well you've been out, you've bought a car at some point, and you've not just been a tire kicker, you've actually looked at what that engine's made of. Now, even if you don't know exactly what's in that engine, you can see if there's any glaringly obvious mistakes there. You can see if the engine goes missing, for example, and that's all these psychometric tests will do. Obviously, it can all be administered online. Obviously, it can be a part of a very strong strategy. Moving on then, I wanted to talk for about 3 or 4 minutes about tools that we can use. It's okay to have strategy and it's okay to have ideas, but this is putting things into action. And these are a couple of tools that I find incredibly useful that we've helped our client attract the right people. Now, we work from heads of sales and CROs, chief revenue officers, right the way down to graduates and people finishing school to get into these sales roles. So we've got a big knowledge on how to get the interest there. And that's the awareness piece, and we'll talk about a couple of things there, and then we'll look on the assessment side, and we'll talk about a couple of ways that we can assess just a little bit better to make sure we're making the right decision digitally. So first one, if we are looking at attraction, social is your tool of choice here. Go into the toolkit, bring out your social media, because this is a low-cost way of building gravity around your business. Now, I guarantee most people understand that going on and setting up an Instagram page to show life at your business is nice to have. But I can tell you for now, it is a must-have, and in the future, it will be a must-have. Why? Again, it's consumer behavior, and it's about understanding where these people that want to get a job are spending most of their time. So social is really very important. We've obviously got different social universes, and this picture goes into a bit more detail about what we can do in a talent attraction strategy. But your social media sites, your Instagrams, TikToks, LinkedIn, which is really big, your Facebooks, all of these are a nice way to get your attention or get the candidate's attention and get your story across. Obviously, there's loads of things we can talk about, and I'll actually do a talk about EVP, but we need to be able to realize that we are missing a huge trick if we're trying to digitally recruit and we do not have social media presence. Now, a good example of this, one of my clients wanted to be able to hire people through the pandemic. They could not meet people, and people would cancel over and over again. Now, we thought at first maybe it was because of the candidate not feeling fully comfortable with interviewing, because obviously what was going on in the world. But when we took a step back, the feedback from the candidate was they were such a ghost, or they were anonymous online. They were not able to find out anything interesting about this business besides what the website says. And let's be honest, you're probably creating your website to talk to your clients, not the talent coming into your business. So the social side of things really allows for candidates to build awareness around your business and allows you to storytell really nicely. This one scares me slightly. Quick question come through. I'll come back to this in a second. Is the talent attraction strategy the same for small and medium-sized businesses? Brilliant question. Firstly, the strategy will be different in every single business. It does not matter the size of the business. You will get your core components that will allow for you to understand that this is the strategy, but it needs to be tailored to your business. And the big reason why is because every business has a unique fingerprint. Every business has a unique profile. So your strategy should be exactly what you want your message to be, exactly how we can talk to our candidates. Do we want to be able to enhance our offering to them as employees, which is employer value proposition? Do we want to be able to show the culture, the values, the ethics this business has at the first interaction that you have your candidates? So you can get one size fits all strategy. You absolutely can. I could send you a paper, a white paper that I've written about this is a basic strategy that you can create. But realistically, irregardless of size of business, it should be unique, because this is going to be the most important acquisition you will make, which will be talent joining your business. Getting the right talent is absolutely crucial. We all know the cost of a bad hire. So your strategy should be focused around what your goals are in the business, the values, the ethics of your business, and additionally, where you see yourself growing in the future. But good question. Did that answer? Great. So next one then. So research. This is the one that scares me, I said before. Research is it's a really critical part to this, because I think what lots of companies do is they build this strategy and they become executors. So they do the doing behind it. They take the action, they fill up all their content, they get all of this information out, and it looks really beautiful. And we all know really good creative people now. And it's quite easy to have accessibility to these different softwares in today's world. But what they don't realize is, again, the information that you're sending out needs to be interacting not only with the right audience, but it needs to be emotive in the right audience. So there's a couple of tools that you can use. Now, the first one is social listening. So this is a tool that will allow you to understand what people are saying, not only about your business, but about the role that you're recruiting for and the culture that they want to get into. And it basically works around how people are interacting on things like Twitter. So I'll give you an example. If on Twitter, somebody says, I'm really excited about interviewing with XYZ because they have a great corporate social responsibility structure, you would then be able to work out that the audience for that company wants to see a good corporate social responsibility structure or CSR structure within their business. So the next group, the next group of content that we're going to send out is going to be more focused around CSR, because that's what our audience wants to talk about and wants to hear. It's very important to realize that if we give them exactly that they want to hear and what they want to hear, they will gravitate towards us. And that's what talent attraction is all about. It's about creating your own gravity. So the research tool is actually really nice because it means we can tailor effectively. This one's super scary then. The second picture I put in is about programmatics. Now, we might understand of previous scandals where data has been used against people. And without mentioning names, but we know full well it became more political over the years. But why aren't we harnessing that technology to allow us to understand how we can communicate with our audience properly? I'll give you an example of this. So audiences might be consuming 30-second videos on, let's say, Facebook, and our videos might be 2 minutes long. Now, the analytics that we can get from programmatics would allow us to understand that our audience is dropping off after 30 seconds. So what do? We tailor our content to make it 30 seconds for them. Again, if you get the attention span of your audience and your candidates and hopeful candidates, you will be able to build the awareness in your business and attract candidates. Right, moving on then. We are going to talk a little bit about assessment now. So from an assessment perspective, we can look at video interviewing. And video interviewing is a really nice way of automating process, but also allowing us to create a digital talent pool or a digital talent archive. Now, obviously, one-way video interviews means that you set and preset the questions, send out the links, and then let them go. From there, you're going to get loads of people coming back applying for your job. So if you're in a role, if you're recruiting for a role that's really candidate rich, there's a lot of people that want to work in that position, you can start to use this to automate process digitally. The second one then is the two-way, and the best thing that I see with a two-way interview is not only can you record, but you can do it in your environment. And the advantages of doing it in your environment, you're probably going to get a more relaxed person. Now, stress tolerance in interviews is showing that people become more stressed, so tolerance goes down. And obviously what we want to try and do is find this person in the rawest form. We want to work out, are they the type of person that we want to work with daily? People manipulate their personality in interviews. I'm sorry if that's just come as a bit of a bombshell, but it's so true. Lastly then is the extended DISC or psychometric tests. So we've created our strategy, we've looked at attracting people, and now we really want to tune in the dials and refine this to make sure you're spot on with getting absolutely the right person. So what we can do with that is put them through psychometric testing. Now, clients ask all of the time, should my psychometric testing be at the beginning of the process or at the end of the process? And reality is that's entirely up to you. However, what your psychometric test does is it allows you to fully focus your thoughts on this candidate. Some psychometric tests will give you personality, some will give you competency, but lots of them will use comparable ratings. So it means that they've already looked at the role that you're recruiting for thousands of times over, and they've worked out what needs to be seen to be successful in this. So you've taken away your hunch of what's successful. You're using psychology, but you're also using this comparative methods. So instead of you interviewing that 1,000 people, your psychometric test will do that. All right. So I'm Sedgwick. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you about moving recruitment into the digital age. I've been mega excited about having this conversation because it's happening, like it or not. You will need to be able to build your recruitment strategy around a new age and around a digital age. If you have any questions about anything to do with recruitment in the digital age, then just give me a quick call. Thanks so much.